Spider-Man. Peter Parker was just your average teenager from Queens, New York. He lived with his Aunt May and Uncle Ben, and he attended Midtown High. Peter was very studious and was considered one of the smartest kids in school. Unfortunately, his good grades didn't make him very popular with some of his classmates. Flash Thompson, the school bully, regularly tormented Peter. One day, Flash pushed him to the ground, and Peter's books scattered everywhere. School was tough for Peter, but he was happy at home. Aunt May and Uncle Ben loved Peter completely. One night over dinner, Peter told Aunt May and Uncle Ben that he might want to be a scientist someday. Uncle Ben told Peter that a career in science would give Peter great power. He reminded him that, with great power comes great responsibility. Then one day, Peter's life changed while he was on a school trip to the science hall. He was excited to see real-life scientists at work. While Peter looked around at the exhibits, a spider passed through radioactive waves. Peter was so distracted he didn't even see the radioactive spider head right towards him. Peter Parker would never be the same. At that moment, the radioactive spider bit Peter. He could never have imagined what an impact this one bite would have on his life. On his way home from the science hall, Peter discovered that he had super strength and was able to stick to walls. Peter wanted to keep his identity a secret, so he stayed up all night creating a spider suit and mask. He even stitched a large spider on the front of it. Peter worked hard to figure out how to control his new powers. Using his vast knowledge of science, he made web shooters and practiced shooting them in his bedroom. Peter's super strong webs stuck to every surface. Soon his entire room was covered in webs. Okay, so it's not as easy as it looks, Peter thought. It took time and practice before Peter learned to master his newfound skills. Once he got the hang of his skills, Peter honed his spider sense. This meant that Peter got a strong tingly feeling that alerted him to danger. These skills made Peter extremely powerful. Like all teenagers, Peter wanted to make money. He needed a job where he could use his powers to his advantage. So Peter became a wrestler. And in the red corner, Spider-Man announced the MC. Peter used his powers to defeat every opponent. Many people were surprised by his skills. Spider-Man was getting very popular in the ring. He was quite well known at the wrestling gym too. One night, Peter noticed the wrestling gym was being robbed. Peter didn't care, and the robber ended up getting away. When Peter got home later that night, he saw police cars in front of his house. He raced inside and found out that someone had attacked and hurt Uncle Ben. Aunt May and Peter were devastated. The police officers told Peter not to worry because they had the criminal cornered at an old warehouse. But Peter knew he had to take matters into his own hands. He put on his Spider-Man suit and swung through the city. Peter swung across the bridge with steely determination. He would avenge Uncle Ben. At last, Peter arrived at the warehouse. The thief was stunned as he watched Spider-Man in action. Spider-Man shot a web and trapped the crook. After getting a good look at him, Spider-Man realized that it was the same criminal he had watched escape from the wrestling gym. If only I had stopped him then, he thought. Peter vowed that from then on, he would help others whenever it was in his power. He would never let anything like this happen again. The next day, Spider-Man heard about another criminal on the loose in Manhattan. Spider-Man swung down to confront the supercharged villain. It was Electro. The hero used his web shooters, and after a few tries, the supervillain was defeated. A few nights later, Spider-Man found the supervillain Shocker trying to rob a bank. "Gotcha!" Spider-Man shouted as he webbed up Shocker's metal gauntlets and knocked him to the floor as he swung away. A policeman pulled up to find Shocker trapped on the ground. In that moment, Spider-Man realized it was his destiny to always protect others, and if he worked hard enough, maybe one day, he could become a great superhero. Spider-Man thought back to the words that Uncle Ben always used to say. With great power comes great responsibility. Peter Parker might seem like your normal teenager, but he is the amazing Spider-Man. The end.